안녕하세요, 올바르입니다. 오늘은 니콜라에 대한 두 건의 영상을 함께 보실 텐데요. 두 영상 모두 약간은 시니컬한 느낌을 가지고 있으므로 이를 사전에 인지하시고 들으시면 투자를 위한 중립성을 지키는 데 도움이 되실 것 같습니다. 테슬라 vs 니콜라, 많이 들으셨던 내용일 것 같습니다. 주로 사이버트럭과 배저, 세미트럭과 니콜라원으로 비교되면서 상용시장에서는 수소차가 우세할 것이라는 그런 전망의 선두주자로서 달리고 있는데요. 수소차 전체의 진영을 의미하는 건 아니고 니콜라 그 자체에 대한 요소를 한번 짚어보고자 합니다. 니콜라 모터스입니다. 니콜라의 데뷔는 굉장히 파격적이었죠. 이후에 데뷔 과정에서의 약간 놀랐던 지점이 있어서 블룸버그가 리포터를 통해 얘기했던 데뷔 과정에 일종의 과장 광고 혹은 허위 광고에 대한 영상, 그리고 아크 인베스트의 캐시우드가 생각하는 니콜라에 대해서 같이 두 건의 영상으로 한번 보시겠습니다. 첫 번째는 이제 앞서서 블룸버그 내용이죠. 니콜라의 창업자가 트럭의 데뷔 당시 기능을 과장했다는 뉴스였는데요. 2016년 당시에 니콜라원의 첫 소개에 쓰였던 프로토타입 트럭이 당시에 제로 이미션, 그리고 수소연료 차량 등 표시가 있었음에도 불구하고 당시 차량 내에 그런 기어와 모터 혹은 연료전지는 없었다는 겁니다. 수소전기차에서 가장 중요한 것이 수소 저장 탱크와 수소 연료전지 기술임을 감안할 때 이는 꽤 크리티컬한 지적일 수밖에 없었습니다. 사진을 꽤 큰 걸로 한번 준비해서 가져와 봤습니다. 밑에 보이시나요? 체크해 드릴게요. 왼쪽부터 보시죠. H2 수소, 오른쪽에는 수소 제로 이미션이라고 써있고, 이를 확대해보면 이런 식으로 써있습니다. 이에 대해서 트레버 밀턴은 블룸버그 통신에 이렇게 말했습니다. 당시 행사에 나왔던 니콜라원에는 수소 연료전지가 없는 것은 맞지만 그렇다고 해서 수소 연료전지가 있다고 말하지도 않았다. 모터와 기어는 안전상의 이유로 뺀 것이다. 이렇게 해명했습니다. 여기에 대해서는 이것이 답변이 될 수 있을 것 같네요. 당시 행사에서 사람들이 트럭 차량의 제어 장치에 부딪히는 것을 막기 위해 체인을 설치했다라면서 이것은 오퍼레이셔널 트럭이라고 말한 적 있는 걸로 알려지고 있습니다. 그리고 영상을 한번 같이 보시죠.
Moving on now to a Bloomberg scoop. The founder of the electric trucking company Nikola exaggerated the capabilities of the debut truck. Our Ed Ludlow broke this story and joins us now. Ed, what can you tell us about what happened here?
So on December the 1st, 2016 in Salt Lake City, Trevor Milton, who is Nikola's founder and now executive chairman, unveiled the Nikolawan, the company's first prototype truck, and it was displayed as a hydrogen fuel cell EV. And at the time, he told the audience that they had to chain the truck down to stop it being driven off by, people in case they drove it off the stage. He said that it was not a pusher, which is industry parlance for basically meaning a prototype that cannot operate under its own power. It needed to be pushed onto the stage. What sources told me is that that's exactly what it was. It was an inoperable prototype, that it had several components missing from it, including the components relating to the motor, the gears, and the fuel cell at the heart of the hydrogen system. There was no fuel cell in it, according to sources. And so it was, essentially immovable, as sources describe it. And I guess it's important to add that Trevor Milton, when I spoke to him this morning, pushed back against that, saying that he had never deceived anyone. But he did, say at that time and in interviews the following day that it was a working operational vehicle.
Right. So how does he explain some of these inconsistencies then? I mean, this is a company that has taken off in part because of how this truck was debuted and is considered, a potential real competitor, or has been considered a potential real competitor to Tesla.
So he says on the fuel cell that there was no fuel cell in that prototype, but he also says that he never said there was a fuel cell within it. There was a last-minute pivot several weeks before the event where they moved from a natural gas system to a hydrogen fuel cell system. But he says he never actually stated that there was a fuel cell inside that prototype. He said that the components that I mentioned that we believe to be missing were removed on purpose for safety reasons.
So what does Nikola actually then plan to do? What's next?
So Nikola's got different stages of goals. The first is to build a battery electric semi-truck, which it's doing as a joint venture with CNH Industrial Iveco in Germany, and a plant in Germany which is already built, and that will be a sort of cooperation with another company. At the same time, they're looking to build a factory in Arizona, about 30 miles south of Phoenix, where they will eventually build a hydrogen fuel cell semi-truck. But that is much further into the distance. They're not expecting to make any serious revenue on any of these products until around 2023. So these are sort of more realistic goals. But the big umbrella point that a lot of people are picking up on is that Nikola wants to develop a hydrogen network that it can use to fuel these hydrogen fuel cell trucks. If you imagine, just as you go to the gas station to get gas for your car, they want to have a broad network across the United States and beyond of hydrogen stations.
그리고 니콜라는 배터리 차량을 2021년부터 판매한 후 2022년에 배저의 양상을 예상하고 있습니다만, 배저가 사이버트럭과의 경쟁 프로덕트 라인임을 감안할 때 사이버트럭은 몇 번이고 발견되고 있지만 니콜라의 배저를 본 사람은 아직까지 없습니다. 또한 테슬라는 이미 사이버트럭에 대한 기가팩토리 혹은 테라팩토리에 대해서 구축할 위치나 계획을 밝히고 있습니다. 다만 그에 반해서 배저나 니콜라원의 트럭 생산 계획은 아직까지 밝혀진 바가 없습니다. 일단 작동되고 있는 프로토타입을 먼저 보여줘야 할 시기가 아닌가 이렇게 생각이 됩니다. 이에 대해서 캐시 우드는 니콜라는 테슬라의 대항마가 아니라며 니콜라의 가능성에 대해서 일축한 바 있습니다. 영상을 한번 같이 보시죠.
When people look at the list of investors that are part of this IPO, they'll be amazed at the quality and strength of the investor group in Tesla.
That was Tesla CEO Elon Musk speaking to our own Phil LeBeau 10 years ago today when Tesla went public at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. A lot has happened since that IPO. The stock has gone from $17 a share to nearly $1,000. Its market cap has exploded from just $1.7 billion at the time of the IPO to almost $184 billion. And the gains, a monstrous 5,837% over the past decade. Tesla's big anniversary comes the same day EV maker Nikola starts taking pre-orders for its Badger pickup truck. We spoke with Nikola founder and executive chairman Trevor Milton on Friday, and he was pretty excited.
It's the coolest electric truck, pickup truck the world's ever seen. So, yeah, it's a big day on Monday, and also those reservations turn into tickets for Nikola World happening in December when we show off the Badger. So it's just the next 4 or 5 months is just going to be an incredibly fun time.
The coolest electric pickup truck the world has ever seen, except for the world hasn't actually seen it because it hasn't actually been made yet. Minor detail. But the question here is, can it take on Tesla's Cybertruck? Let's bring in Cathie Wood, CEO and CIO at ARK Invest. Cathie, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Melissa. Very happy to be here.
Your firm sounds very skeptical based on the research reports I've read about Nikola, and I'm wondering, in your view, what is different from Nikola today versus Tesla when it IPO'd 10 years ago and it only had a roadster in Times Square?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest difference is the right technology. We did a white sheet of paper research at the beginning of ARK and just mapped out what an electric vehicle cost decline would look like versus a hydrogen. And as we were doing that research, we realized the infrastructure alone for hydrogen fueling stations is going to be 5 to 10 times as expensive as the infrastructure for electric. And then from the consumer's point of view, it is going to cost roughly 3 times as much. So this is a 700,000-mile truck lease. And if you tally up the cost to the trucker for the hydrogen, it will be 3 times as much as the cost would be for electricity. So the technology is what Tesla got right.
Is there no economy of scale once that infrastructure is put in place down the line? Because what's different about Nikola also is that they're selling basically a bundle where you have the truck and they're also selling the fuel at the same time. So if they can get that cost of the fuel down, the hydrogen down, that's just money that they capture.
Yeah, if they're able to do that. We don't think they will be able to do that, but let's just take the assumptions that they made in preparing for the IPO, and you take their cash flow out in 2024, where they've got everything moving their way perfectly. And what we have here now is a stock selling at $24 billion market cap for about 110 times cash flow. And if you take Tesla by comparison today, our bear case without ride hailing is 7 to 8 times cash flow in 2024. And if you include ride hailing, which we think they will launch this year, and that's human-driven ride hailing, it's 5 to 6 times cash flow. So there's just no comparison. The other interesting thing is this management team has come from the old world. I mean, I'm looking at steel and aluminum and natural gas. And, those are mature industries. We're talking about exponential growth here, and that's their attempt. We don't think they will succeed, but we don't think they've got the right DNA to begin with.
테슬라의 대항마 중 완성차 사이드에서 많이 꼽히고 있는 니콜라에 대해서 두 건의 인터뷰를 통해서 알아봤습니다. 이전에도 말씀드렸지만 저는 테슬라가 두 가지 사이드의 경쟁자를 가지고 있다고 생각하는데, 하나는 전기를 대체할 수 있는 분야에 대항마가 있을 수 있고, 다른 쪽은 자율주행에서의 대항마가 있을 수 있겠죠. 일단 아직까지 니콜라가 속하는 쪽은 이쪽이고, 니콜라가 가지고 있는 포텐셜에 대해서 저도 아직까지 의문인 점이 많습니다. 비용적으로 논리적인 비약이 꽤 있기도 하고요. 배터리 전기차를 통해서 2021년부터 판매 후 나아가겠다는 점에서 배터리를 통한 전기차 판매가 얼마나 될 수 있을지도 의문이며, 완성차를 만드는 부분은 테슬라와는 또 다른 영역입니다. 사실 이 부분은 전면적으로 빅 오토메이커들과 특히 현대나 도요타와 한판 크게 붙자는 이밍인데, 이에 대해서 어떻게 처리될 수 있을지 아직까지 질문이 많이 남는 기업이라고 생각합니다. 감사합니다. 올바른이었습니다. 내일은 오늘의 테슬라 소식으로 돌아오겠습니다.